I grew up with a ghost. Not the kind that rattles chains or whispers in dark hallways, but the quiet kind that lives in framed photographs and careful silences. My father existed only in a single picture on the living room shelf. A young man with tired eyes and a soft smile, holding my mother's hand while she laughed at something outside the frame. The photo was slightly faded, like it had been handled too many times, then suddenly not at all. "He died before you were born," my mom would say whenever I asked. She always said it gently, like she was cushioning me from a fall I didn't know I was taking. I stopped asking when I was 8. Kids at school talked about their dads teaching them to ride bikes, embarrassing them at parent-teacher meetings, burning burgers at barbecues. I learned to smile and nod like I understood. At Father's Day events, my mom would take off work and show up instead, wearing sunglasses too big for her face, clapping louder than anyone. I told people she was both my mom and dad. Teachers called her strong. Neighbors called her devoted. I called her everything. She worked double shifts at the hospital, came home smelling like antiseptic and exhaustion, and still helped me with homework at the kitchen table. We didn't have much, but we had routines. Friday night frozen pizza, Sunday morning laundry, late night talks when she couldn't sleep and neither could I. Sometimes I'd wake up and find her sitting at the edge of my bed, just watching me breathe. I thought that was love. Maybe it was, just not the whole truth. The flight was supposed to be boring. I was 22, flying from Chicago to Seattle for a job interview with a tech company that made software so complicated I barely understood my own role in it. I'd never been that far west. My mom hugged me too tight at the airport, like I was shipping off to war instead of a 2-hour time difference. "Text me when you land," she said for the 3rd time. "I will. Promise." "I promise, Mom." Her eyes were shiny. I blamed the early hour. On the plane, I had a window seat. I liked watching cities shrink into grids and clouds swallow everything whole. The middle seat stayed empty until the last minute, when a man in his late 40s hurried down the aisle, breathless, hair slightly graying at the temples. Sorry, he muttered, sliding into the seat beside me. He smelled like coffee and winter air. He buckled his seatbelt with shaking hands. I gave him a polite nod, then went back to my music. 10 minutes into the flight, I felt him looking at me. Not in a creepy way, in a confused, searching way, like he was trying to remember where he knew me from. I ignored it at first. People do that sometimes. Faces trigger memories that aren't real. But then he said my name, softly, like it hurt. "Evan." My stomach dropped. I turned slowly. "Sorry." He was staring at me like I'd just risen from the dead. "Your name," he said, voice unsteady. "It's Evan, right?" I froze. "How do you know that?" His eyes filled with something I couldn't place. Hope, fear, grief, all tangled together. "You look exactly like her," he whispered. "Like who?" He swallowed. His hands trembled in his lap. "Your mother," he said. "Lena." I felt the air leave my lungs. "Do I know you?" He let out a broken laugh. "God, I hoped not. And I hoped you would." I didn't know which would hurt more. My pulse pounded in my ears. "I think you have me confused with someone else." He shook his head, slow and certain. "No," he said. "I don't." We sat in silence, the engine's roar filling the space between us. Then he said the name. "My name is Daniel Mercer. My father's name. The one on the faded photo. The one on the death certificate my mom once showed me when I was 10 and wouldn't stop asking questions. Daniel Mercer. Dead before I was born. Except he was sitting next to me on a flight to Seattle, very much alive. I laughed. It burst out of me, sharp and disbelieving. "That's not funny." "I'm not joking." "Yes, you are. That's my dad's name. He died 22 years ago." He looked like I'd slapped him. "No," he said quietly. "I didn't." I shook my head. "You've got the wrong person. This is some kind of coincidence." He reached into his wallet with slow, careful movements, like he didn't want to spook me. He pulled out an old, creased photograph. It was the same one from our shelf at home. Only this copy wasn't faded. It was the original. My mom, laughing. Him, younger, holding her hand. My throat closed. "Where did you get that?" I whispered. It's mine, he said. She gave it to me the day she told me she was pregnant. Couldn't breathe. She told me you died, I said. I know, he replied. I figured she would. I didn't talk to him for the rest of the flight. I stared out the window while my mind tried to tear itself apart. This wasn't possible. My mom had shown me documents, a hospital report, a death certificate. She cried when she talked about him, lit a candle on his birthday every year. She wouldn't lie about something like that, would she? When we landed, I rushed off the plane, but he followed at a distance. Evan, he called. Please, just let me explain. I turned on him in the terminal. Explain what? That you're some creep with a copy of my parents' photo. I'm your father. You're not. He's dead. I was supposed to be, he said. The words hit me like cold water. What does that even mean? He glanced around, then gestured toward a quiet corner near a closed cafe. I should have walked away. I didn't, because a small, terrified part of me already knew. We sat across from each other, strangers with the same eyes. She told you I died, he said. Did she tell you how?
Car accident.
He nodded slowly. Convenient. I flinched. Don't talk about her like that. I'm not attacking her, he said gently. I'm telling you the truth, or at least my side of it. I crossed my arms. You have 5 minutes. He took a breath. When your mom and I met, we were young, broke, in love in that reckless, stupid way where you think feelings are enough to build a life on. I was working for a logistics company. Long hours, cash under the table sometimes. Not all of it was legal. Ice crept down my spine. She knew. At first, no. Then yes. By then she was pregnant. With you. I stared at the floor. I wanted out, he continued. I told my boss I was done. He didn't take it well. People like that don't believe in 2-week notices. I looked up. What are you saying? I owed them money. Not a lot, but enough. They started making threats. Not just to me, to her, to the baby. My heart pounded. So you ran? I asked. I tried. I went to the police. I blinked. What? They couldn't do much without proof. And if they tipped off the wrong people, it would have made things worse. He rubbed his hands together, like he was trying to warm them. Your mom panicked. She was already terrified of losing you. She said if anyone came looking, they couldn't know you existed. That we had to disappear. So you faked your death? I said, disbelief lacing every word. She did, he corrected softly. For me, the world tilted. She had a friend at the hospital, he went on. Someone who owed her. Papers got filed. Records got adjusted. Official enough that no one would question it. My voice shook. And you just left? I stayed away, he said, to protect you. Both of you. By letting me think you were dead my entire life? Pain flashed across his face. I thought it was safer that way. If no one could find me, they couldn't trace me to you. I stood up. This is insane. It's the truth. You expect me to believe my mom lied to me for 22 years because of some criminal boogeyman? He didn't argue. That's exactly what happened. I didn't go to the interview. I sat in a cheap airport hotel room, staring at my phone, trying to decide whether to call my mom or throw up. I did both. She answered on the first ring. You landed. Yeah. You sound weird. Are you okay? I swallowed. Mom. What really happened to Dad? Silence. The kind that has weight. I told you, she said carefully.
Car accident.
I met him today. Her breath caught. You what? On the plane. He was sitting next to me. That's not funny, Evan. I'm not joking. Her voice dropped to a whisper. What did he say to you? So she knew. Rage flared, hot and blinding. You lied to me. I was protecting you. From what? From him, she snapped, then immediately sounded like she regretted it. From my own father? You don't know him. Apparently I don't know you either. She started crying. Real, broken sobs that made my chest ache even as anger burned through me. I did what I had to do, she said. You were a baby. You don't understand the kind of people he was involved with. He said he left to keep us safe. He always says that, she shouted. He always makes himself the hero. I sank onto the bed. So what's the truth? She didn't answer. Mom. He was in deep Evan. Worse than he told you. I saw things. Heard things. Men showing up at our door at 2 a.m. He said he was getting out. But people like that don't let you go. So you faked his death. Yes. And never told me. I couldn't risk you looking for him someday, she said. If you found him, they could find you. Who is they? I demanded. She didn't say. That scared me more than anything. I met him again the next day. Not because I trusted him, but because I needed answers, and my mother had given me nothing but fear. We sat in a quiet diner near the airport. He looked older in daylight, tired, like he'd been carrying something heavy for a very long time. She talked to you, he guessed. Yes. And she still thinks I'm the villain. She thinks you were involved with dangerous people. I was, he admitted. But I was trying to get out. That's what you said. Because it's true. I clenched my jaw. Did anyone ever come after you? After we disappeared? He shook his head. Not that I know of. After I died. I cut every tie. New name. New state. I kept tabs from a distance, just to make sure you were okay. Got close, he said quickly. Just public things. School newsletters. Your mom's social media before she locked it down. I wanted to know you were safe. That should have comforted me. Didn't. You watched my life from the shadows, I said. Like a ghost. His eyes filled with tears. I missed your first steps. Your first day of school. Every birthday. You think that was easy? I didn't know what to say. I thought staying away was love, he whispered. Maybe I was wrong. I went home a week later. The job interview didn't matter anymore. My life had split into before and after, and there was no going back. My mom was waiting in the kitchen, eyes red, hands wrapped around a mug gone cold. You saw him again, she said. Yes. She nodded like she'd expected that. We sat across from each other, the same table where she'd helped me with math homework, where we'd eaten burnt pancakes and celebrated report cards. Why didn't you ever tell me the truth? I asked. Because I wanted you to have a normal childhood, she said. Not one filled with fear. I grew up with a dead father, I said quietly. That's not normal either. Tears slid down her face. I thought it was the lesser evil. Do you still think that? She hesitated. I don't know anymore. The truth didn't come all at once. Came in pieces. Old emails she'd saved but never deleted. News articles about arrests tied to the company my father once worked for. Names I didn't recognize, but that made her hands shake when she read them. Some of what he said was true. Some of what she said was true. Neither of them had been completely honest. They were two scared young people who made impossible choices and never stopped living with the consequences. And I was the result. I see him sometimes now, carefully, slowly, coffee in public places, conversations that start awkward and end quieter than they should. He tells me stories about who he was back then. Not excuses, just facts. My mom still hates that I talk to him. She tries not to show it. I just don't want to lose you, she said one night. You won't, I told her. But something had already changed. I didn't just have a ghost anymore. I had two parents, both flawed, both liars in their own ways, both somehow still trying to love me the only way they knew how. And me? I'm still figuring out who I am when the story I was raised on turns out to be fiction. But at least now, when I look at that old photo on the shelf, it's not a picture of a dead man. It's a reminder that the truth doesn't stay buried forever. Sometimes it just buys a plane ticket and sits down right next to you.